Good evening. Hi. My name is Chris Villa, and I'm a sophomore at Temple University studying marketing in the Fox School of Business. I am originally from a town called Bluebell, a suburb about 30 minutes north of Philly. I went to Wissahickon High School where I played basketball and baseball, huge sports fan, very passionate, very competitive, and I was also in a few clubs. And the first club I joined was called FBLA, which stands for Future Business Leaders of America. And to be a part of this club, we would have to read business articles every week, just like we do here in this class for the Wall Street Journal, and summarize and analyze the articles to show that we understood them and we had somewhat of an analytical feel to it. And we also had to do a presentation on a public company describing its values and culture, and if we thought they were going to stay successful in the future, just like we did in this class, ironically. And this club got me very interested in business at a basic level, so I knew in the future I'd probably want to do something with business but get more complex into it. And it doesn't hurt that my mom is very much involved in HRM. She happens to be, well, she was the VP of two subsets of HRM departments at GSK and Theorem Clinical Research, which is a private company. And she has definitely been an inspiration and motivational person in my life. And I would love to follow in her successful business career, whether it is through marketing or maybe even HRM. I don't know, but one of those two. And I definitely found a passion with marketing, and I've had a passion for sports my entire life. So I think down the road I want to become a sports marketer since I know so much about sports and am now learning more and more about marketing. I can just see myself becoming a successful sports marketer. Well, now I'm going to actually tell you about something I've accomplished in my life. It's something I'm proud of. And like I stated before, I love to watch and play sports. And my favorite sport is basketball, mainly because I always felt I was the best at it. And I was a varsity player for 3 years at Wissahickon and was a captain my junior and senior year. And we had an interesting way of picking captains where it wasn't the coach who picked, but it was us, the players, who picked. And even I picked, and I picked for someone, and vice versa. And in my younger years, I never thought of myself as a leader. But when it comes to something I'm passionate about, I almost naturally want to lead, and it feels like an instinct almost. And I was picked 2 years in a row, and I felt honored and privileged. And when I found out my teammates voted for me, I knew I had to prove them that I was a legitimate choice. And I became very vocal my junior year, and even began critiquing teammates, and not in like a negative way, but in a positive, meaningful way where they could learn, but at the same time not get mad, but maybe inspired. And I allowed my teammates to critique me too as well, because I know as a leader, you have to be able to take criticism in a good way and be able to take advice, which I learned to do and I'm still learning to do. And I read an article on the Wall Street Journal titled, "What is the difference between management and leadership?" And I related this article to basketball, well, my basketball season, and back when I was a captain for my team. And I thought of the manager as the head coach and the leader as me or us as the captains, essentially. And in the article, it states the manager maintains, the leader develops. The manager focuses on systems and structure while the leader focuses on people. The last one, the manager relies on control and the leader inspires trust. And that really stuck to me. And of course, the coach can inspire trust and vice versa. But for our basketball team, our coach instilled us with the power, and he was the one who relied on the structure and the advantage and tried to, game plan. And I have a very interesting story actually, which is very relevant for tonight's championship game for college basketball, which of course is Villanova versus North Carolina. And it was my senior year, and we had a pretty good year. We were at 14-10. We were the 30th seed in Quad A playoffs, meaning we were going to have to play a very, very good team. And that team happened to be Great Valley, who was the third seed. And I'm not sure if you've been following March Madness, but they had a player named Mikal Bridges, who is playing for Villanova tonight and is a very important factor for their team. And this kid is like 6'7", can shoot, jump, and we could have went into the game scared, but my fellow captains and I used inspirational motivation to influence our team. And we got so hyped before that game, no one could believe it. And we went in there knowing we could beat them. And at the same time, we stayed very focused, and I made sure of that. going over the plays and game plan with the coach and making sure that everyone knew what their role was. And that night we ended up beating McKell Bridges in Great Valley, and it was one of the biggest upsets in our school history, and I will never, ever forget that moment, as it is one of the first moments that I realized that I can be an effective leader. Once we beat one of the best teams in the state, and we were just this little team called Wissahickon, and it was an incredible moment. The last thing I'm going to talk about in this interview is what I've learned in this class. And of course, I've learned many things in this class, but the one I find to be most important was when we did our group projects. And when I first heard about this assignment, I knew I was going to like it. Because one, I like to work with groups. I'm a little bit more extroverted than introverted, and I liked it because of the topic being about music. I'm kind of passionate about music, and as long as our group was functional, I knew we could do a good job on this assignment. And our group at the beginning was very much functional. And the first day we got our assigned groups, we used Tuckman's model of group development. Pretty much, it was like instinctively, we shook each other's hand, got to know each other, made small talk. And for some people, small talk can be a little awkward, but for us, it was very comfortable. And we seemed like we knew what we wanted to accomplish and wanted to set the values almost right away. And in that week or so, we started to develop goals and values for our project and what we truly wanted to accomplish. And we then created the Google Docs and assigned roles for everyone. And I think this showed that we had trusted with one another, with one each other. And this was going to be a job that we were going to get done. And we ended up recording our project about a week before it was due. And surprisingly, only took 2 or 3 takes at it. And once it was all done, it looked good. And I believe this was just because we were all very well prepared and we assigned each other with the roles that we felt most comfortable with, and we knew what we had to talk about. And I know in the business world, I'm going to be working with groups constantly, and they don't always work out, of course, but as long as you respect people and their personalities and, how they dress, blah, 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 you should be able to get the job done and you should get respect back. And I believe that this is the most important thing, having respect for people who you work with. And if you have respect for people, they will trust you, and they will usually show it back as long as they are a good person. And this can go a long way in business. And if you meet the right people, who knows? I mean, you could become a very successful person one day.